Hey, welcome. Thanks for joining me. My name is Chaz Mission Moore. I appreciate you being here. And I something happened to me today that I thought I'd like to share with you guys here. Something that really frustration when it can really rear its ugly head. See, a couple of years ago, we lived in Eastern Kentucky, in the middle of nowhere on 100 acres. Took an hour to get to the closest store, the general store, not even Walmart. So when we were choosing to what school our kids would go to, the only option we had was to homeschool them. So my son, who's now 8, but back then was just learning how to read and write, when he would write his letters, and this is not even writing, this is just tracing. He would go so far out the lines and we'd have to erase, try again, erase, try again. And every time he erased, he would also rip the page in half. So not only would I have to erase and try again, I'd have to reprint the page every single time. Talk about being frustrated. I had no emotional control back then. And so I was just angry all the time. Anytime I had to do homework with him, it was frustrating. But today, But today, sorry, camera went out. We were painting, and he's never painted before. I had just finished mudding up the room. One of the walls, I built out these one by ones design of a mountainscape to make his room look really cool, right? And he wanted to help. And so after you mud a room or wall, you got to paint it, and the mud just soaks up the paint. So you really got to get into all the finer details to make sure that the paint spreads evenly and you're not having any gaps, right? Because if you miss the gap, the mud will, anyways. If you're familiar with it, you know what I mean. So as he's painting, he's doing the long, quick brush strokes and completely missing the divots. And you got to blot the brush. It took him a good 45 minutes to finally get the hang of getting the blots in there, and constantly me having to remind him, you missed a spot, you missed a spot, you missed a spot. But this time I didn't lose my temper. I didn't lose control of my emotions. I understood after a couple years, after realizing that I didn't like that homesteading lifestyle that I was in, just who I am as a person, what I can tolerate, what I can't. Removing the junk from my day to day life that I just can't stand has made me an overall better person in my life. So, as my son's painting it, we move over to the other side where the wall of wood displayed is. Before we painted, we had to sand off some of the dried mud that had clogged up on it. But then we went to painting it. And then after we were done painting it, we stood back, and my son right next to me, shoulder to shoulder, it's like, "Wow, dad, we did a good job." Do you have any of those feelings where your son and you do something, you build something, you make something, and then just the sense of accomplishment and fulfillment that you not only do you experience, but your son experiences it right next to you? That's a great feeling. It's one of those moments that shoulder to shoulder bonding between a father and son just really can't be beat. Contrast to who I was in the past, where he couldn't do anything right and I would berate him for that, right? So, somewhere along the line, I had a choice to make of which kind of father am I going to be. And I chose the latter, the father that teaches his son, that sits down, takes a knee to understand and have some empathy. This child knows nothing of what I'm trying to have him do. And it takes time to learn these skills. It takes time to mold a child into a full grown man. And that's the process that I'm getting at here. And so, what does all this have to do? We're each faced with a choice each and every time. Time a situation presents itself. You can choose to be the man that gets angry, that gets frustrated, or you can choose to be the man that has empathy, that understands. Because I've been there. I know exactly what my son is feeling like. I've painted as a child. I've gone through hard things where no matter how hard I tried, I just messed up and I felt so defeated, so frustrated. So I've been there where my son's at. And so to be able to calmly talk to him, allow him to go through his big emotions, not make him feel wrong for that, to get up, try again, and to keep on going. Man, the fulfillment can't be beat. And so I urge you, if you're struggling with this, if this is something that you are struggling with, comment down below. I'm in. and let's open up a conversation on this. Anyways, thanks for listening to this 5-minute chit chat about that. I hope it was helpful, and I look forward to our next get together. Talk to you later. Bye.